I thought it was really instructive that in 10 minutes, there were like all these points of connection and duplication and redundancy. So my kind of first jobs were really as an IA, an information architect. So I think a lot in librarian terms, in terms of the organization of information. And I have two takeaways for me from this event, which is one we were talking about last night, which is around reference architectures. I think unlike Edge or Hyperledger or something like Kafka or something that's not even at the Linux Foundation, they're very technology specific in terms of the iteration and the evolution. And I suspect that maybe half of the software, I'm making it up, that ends up in LF Energy will be unique and specific to energy in some way, but that maybe the other half is going to really end up being compositions of reference architectures and frameworks, and that people are going to choose different blockchains. They're going to choose different parts that are specific and unique to their markets. But the ability to actually see a reference architecture and to have it be a vetted reference architecture, I think is truly invaluable as opposed to just going on GitHub and like scrolling through a bunch of stuff. I mean, you can tell what's going on by looking at a project, what's happening. So I would like to see a mechanism that the TAC, the Technical Advisory Committee, puts together with regards to how we're actually going to house and present reference architectures. And I'm kind of imagining it'll be some sort of database, but that there'll be, it'll provide enough information for people to actually be able to look through it. But I also could see, like Match.com. I mean, instead of, I'm looking for a mate or a spouse that, it's like, I'm working on a technical architecture for IoT, and that, you can sort of put it out to, a couple of thousand people on a mailing list and end up finding, 6 different architects who are basically trying to solve the same problem. And that then can become a working group, and then out of that can become either a reference architecture or a stack or a design. So I think that we're so much in the beginning, and part of what we need are those ideas. We need, folks to step forward and say, what, I think that's a great idea. I'd like to make that happen. And then, we will do everything we can to help enable that and make it happen. Because of the requirements around security and the fears that people have, I think that we have to come up with some mechanism to be able to do it that identifies it as being legitimate and reviewed of some sort. And I don't know how we're going to get to that, but I can totally see the value of it. For me, I don't like driving around lost. And I truly believe that in order to be able to really be in relationship to a highly complex, very fast-moving environment, we have to be extremely efficient and effective with how we use our resources. And part of that is really thinking first, am I going to go out and do this myself, or can I find, a group of others who are doing the same thing or who've already done it? And that really has to start being part of a culture. Because I think the culture is right now, we're on our own, we're doing it ourselves, and, not invented here. And we need to really get over that. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Other questions? Did we lose Ibrahim? Okay. Any other questions? Not a single one? Okay. Well, you guys have been great. I mean, I hope that this was valuable. I hope that you got what you hoped for, that you have a sense of, if you have other questions, how to actually communicate that. There are a group of us going out to dinner this evening. I suppose there's always room at a table for more. So please let Marlis know if you want to join us, or you let me know. So tired, full, tired. It's a lot. It was a lot of information. It kind of tremendous, though. So please provide feedback. We probably will do some little survey monkey to send out to you. Again, we are in the process of beginning, and so your input and your feedback and your, if we did this, it would be better, or we liked it just like this, that's very helpful. Really, we're not trying to enforce something on top of you. We're trying to learn from you. Oh, I know. I actually have 4 things I need to share with you. So we will do a GXF webinar, and so kind of keep your mind and eyes open for that. And so you'll be able to really understand what the use cases are, and we'll go into depth. And that'll be sometime probably in the next 4 or 5 weeks, maybe. We are actually going to do a media training. And you might ask yourself, why would you do a media training? Well, I think that Ibrahim kind of touched on it when he was talking about the success of the projects and the metrics, that part of what happened was the ability to actually communicate what you're doing and get it out into the world becomes really important. With regards to LF Energy, really, if we're going to be successful, it's going to be because we become a movement of sorts. And so we need everyone to kind of participate in amplifying a message. What we're seeking to create is a gravitational center so that people don't keep spending 10, 20, 30, 40% of their budgets redoing exactly the same thing that a person 50 miles away or 5,000 miles away is doing. And so that really requires amplification. So we can go out and amplify stuff, but we need you guys to then see it and to reshare it and to repost it and direct it at people. So that's really helpful. So we're going to do a media training, and half of it, 3/4 of it is really going to be, you don't even have to think about LF Energy. You can just think about your own company, your own brand, your own, how you present to the world on LinkedIn or on Twitter. And we're just going to give you best practices and then a set of talking sheets so that you can actually help support and amplify the message going forward. I feel like we're at a place where we're beginning to hit critical mass, and so we need everyone's participation. I'm trying to remember what else. I will put it in the email. So thank you all very much for your patience and for coming, and do let us know if you have questions. Thank you to Alliander.
Thank you. Maybe some short reflections on the day. Anybody? Yeah, that's my, that seems like. Now I have to run around to get the mic myself.
No one can hear me, I will repeat it. Well, I think for myself, it's been a long day. Kind of a bit of tired, and I still have to feed my children now, so. A lot of information I did not know, and a few very good contexts, of which, Shuli, I really should thank you for organizing it. I think that's the most important thing, finding each other, because a lot of knowledge is indeed being done more than once, and instead of doing it 3 times, we can better do it 3 times better.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a bit of an outsider, but generally I'm doing a lot of community management for open source projects. What I would really like to see, what I found really good, is how people connect, on the stuff that they're working on. If I would take the project in a kind of direction, I would really suggest to do a lot of community building and smaller meetups. The hackathons are usually reserved for developers, but that's totally not necessary. I mean, things like this and sharing the information. I saw people really smiling and getting together on the subjects. I would really recommend to do things like this, small meetups, just a few hour sessions, and enjoy a pizza and a beer and just enjoy and sharing some stuff. So I thought it was really cool.
Okay, thank you. Ibrahim, you also had a reflection?
Oh, I just wanted to say, Shuli mentioned cookies, and I went outside, and there was cabbage and carrots. So she still owes us some cookies.
We'll take care of that next time.
Of cookies, but they were cauliflower and dip.
Well, thank you for having you all here today. I learned a lot. I learned about going upstream in all dimensions on the code, but also in the organization. I learned a lot about the licenses. I didn't know that, but we really have to take care of that and organize that. So thank you very much for that, Sean. And I learned that it's very easy to connect. The 10-minute exercise that Shuli the groceries. We already saw in this very small group that there are actually quite a number of people who are doing the same or working on the same or having the same idea about creating the same idea. So then again, I think if we start finding each other, we can work together and co-create. I think that's really nice. Then, Ibrahim, John, maybe you can come forward. We don't want to leave you without some kind of gift. And since you were talking about cookies a lot, we took care of that. So here you go.
Thank you very much.
Nice present for home. And thank you for traveling all the way to here for just doing this presentation. John, you as well. And Shuli, thank you for hosting and being here as well.
Thank you.
Maybe a round of applause.
If I had one takeaway, it would be we've done a lot of capacity building. No, I don't think I need this. I think I've got a mic on. So we've done, between the Paris Summit and this, I feel like we've done some really great capacity building in the last few months. I'd like to do something kind of closer to an open space technology. I don't know if anybody's ever done something like that, where we really give you guys complete permission to build, go in, talk about, really learn what each other are doing in real time. So that's where I'd like to go next. So great idea. Thank you very much.
And I want a last applause for Marlies Hamer. She organized this all with all the people. A lot of work. Very well done. So I wish everybody a fine trip home if you're not joining dinner. And otherwise we see you at dinner at Hotel Haarhuis. It's opposite of the central station in Arnhem. In case you want to join and still want to join. So have a good trip and see you later. Thank you.